You just missed the best opportunity of your life and didn't even realize it. It happened last week, maybe yesterday. It could even be happening right now while you watch this video. A mature, elegant, confident woman, exactly the type you admire from afar, looked at you in a way that wasn't casual. She smiled. She touched your arm during a conversation. She commented on all your social media posts over the past 15 days. And you? You thought it was politeness, friendliness, coincidence. But it was none of that. It was desire. It was interest. It was a silent invitation that you completely ignored. The truth nobody tells you is this: older women don't behave like younger ones. They don't play games. They don't send confusing signals. They don't wait for you to gather courage for months. When a mature woman wants you, she acts. The problem is that her language is so different, so sophisticated, so subtle, that it goes completely unnoticed by most men. Especially by younger ones, who have been trained their whole lives to recognize the signals of girls their own age, those obvious, childish signals, full of drama and uncertainty. But a woman of 35, 40, 50 doesn't have time for that. She has lived enough to know exactly what she wants. She has suffered enough not to waste time with those who aren't worth it. And when she identifies a man who sparks her interest, whether by his energy, intelligence, or the way he faces life, she acts. Just not in a way you've probably ever learned to recognize. Why does this happen? Because there's a huge social lie that has been drilled into your head since childhood, the idea that older women aren't interested in younger men. That they want stability, maturity, men their own age, or older. This is a fantasy created by people who are afraid of their own sexuality and of female freedom. The reality of human relationships is far more complex, far more interesting, and far more open than you were taught. Mature women feel attracted to younger men all the time. Statistics show that this type of relationship has been growing explosively in recent years. Dating apps confirm it. Women over 40 are increasingly seeking men between 20 and 35. And it's not fetish. It's not neediness. It's not an existential crisis. It's a genuine connection that happens because these women find in these men something that is missing in men their own age: enthusiasm, open-mindedness, physical energy, absence of cynicism. But there's a catch. A cruel catch. Even when these women show interest in a clear, direct, unmistakable way, most men simply don't notice. Why? Because they're blinded by limiting beliefs. They look at a stunning 42-year-old woman and think, she would never be interested in me. So when she holds his gaze 5 seconds longer than normal, he looks away. When she compliments his new haircut with a different smile, he thanks her and changes the subject. When she finds excuses to touch him during a conversation, he thinks it's just friendship. This is the central conflict we're going to break down here. You are surrounded by signals you cannot see. Incredible, mature, self-assured women, who could provide you with emotional and physical experiences you can't even imagine, are signaling interest, and you're ignoring it all because you were programmed to believe it doesn't exist. I'm going to show you exactly how these women act when they want you. I'll reveal the 5 most common, consistent, reliable signs they give. And most importantly, I'll explain the psychology behind each of these behaviors, because when you understand the why, the how becomes obvious. You'll start seeing opportunities that were always there, invisible, waiting for you to wake up. But before we continue, if you're enjoying this content and want to better understand human behavior and attraction dynamics, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It helps me keep bringing this type of knowledge that no one else dares to speak about openly. Now, let's go to the first sign. And this one is so direct that it becomes almost embarrassing when you finally realize how many times you ignored it. Prolonged eye contact. But not just any look. I'm talking about a gaze that lasts 3, 4, 5 seconds without interruption. A look that doesn't break when you notice you're being watched. A look that holds, fixes, penetrates. Younger women, when interested, tend to glance and look away quickly, creating that cat-and-mouse game. Mature women don't do that. When they look, they sustain. Why? Because they are not ashamed of their own desire. They weren't taught to hide what they feel as if it were dirty or inappropriate. This look carries a silent but crystal clear message: I see you. I notice you. And I'm not afraid for you to know it. It's a look that says, I know what I want and you're in my sights. And most men? They look away immediately. They get uncomfortable. They think it's weird. They think they misinterpreted it. But they didn't. That look was exactly what you thought it was. Nonverbal behavior science confirms this. When we maintain prolonged eye contact with someone, our brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Mature women know this intuitively. They use the gaze as a tool to create instant intimacy. If an older woman is looking into your eyes longer than socially normal, it's not a coincidence. It's not politeness. It's not because she's distracted. It's because she wants to create an emotional bridge between the two of you. And there's more. This gaze comes with a micro-expression you need to learn to identify: a slight dilation of the pupils, relaxation of the muscles around the eyes, sometimes a small smile at the corners of the mouth. This doesn't happen when she's just being friendly. It happens when she's feeling genuine attraction. But here's something that will completely change your perspective on this sign. Older women use eye contact not just to show interest, but to test your emotional maturity. They want to see if you can handle the intensity. If you look away, you fail the test. If you hold the gaze with the same confidence, you just pass to the next phase. It's a silent, elegant, and extremely effective filter. The second sign is even more revealing, but also more ignored: the different smile. I'm not talking about that polite smile she gives to everyone in the elevator or in the coffee line. I'm talking about a smile that lights up her entire face in a specific way when you appear. A smile that takes a while to fade. A smile that comes with a sparkle in her eyes that doesn't exist in other interactions. You need to understand one fundamental thing about mature women: they have learned to perfectly control their facial expressions in social contexts. They know how to smile professionally. They know how to smile politely. They know how to smile without feeling anything at all. This is part of the social armor they have built over the years. But when a woman like this allows a genuine, warm, radiant smile to take over her face in your presence, it's not accidental. It's a conscious choice to lower her guard. The difference is in the details. A genuine smile of attraction involves not just the mouth, but the eyes. The muscles around the eyes contract, creating those small wrinkles at the corners, what body language experts call crow's feet or happiness lines. Moreover, this smile persists. She keeps smiling even after the joke is over, even after the apparent reason has passed. Why? Because the true reason for the smile is you, not the situation. And there's something even more revealing: she smiles when you enter the room, even before you exchange words. This happens because her brain has already associated your presence with pleasure, with positive expectation. It's an automatic response that she cannot and does not want to hide. Younger women usually try to disguise this reaction. Mature women don't. They've moved past the stage of pretending indifference. Now comes the third sign, and this one is devastating in its clarity once you finally learn to recognize it: detailed and specific compliments. Older women don't give empty compliments. When they say something positive about you, it's not your nice or nice shirt. It's something like, "I noticed you always listen to people until the end before responding. That's rare." Or, "The way you handled that problem was brilliant. You thought of an angle no one else saw." Or even, "You changed your haircut 2 weeks ago, and it looks much better. It really highlights your face." Do you see the pattern? Attention to detail. Specific memory. Constant observation. This doesn't happen by accident. To give a compliment like this, she has to have been observing you carefully for some time. She has to be paying attention to things most people wouldn't even notice. And most importantly, she has to be storing these observations in her memory because you matter to her. This type of compliment is a powerful psychological tool. It communicates multiple messages simultaneously: I pay attention to you. I value your qualities. I think about you even when we're not together. I care about your growth. It's a sophisticated way to create intimacy without being invasive, to demonstrate interest without being overly direct. Most men receive these compliments and simply say thank you, without processing what just happened. Without realizing that a woman has just revealed that she spends time thinking about him, observing minute details of his behavior, remembering specific information. This is not what we do with people we are indifferent to. This is what we do when we are fascinated by someone. The fourth sign will make you review all your social media interactions: consistent and strategic engagement. A mature woman interested in you doesn't just like your photos. She likes everything. Stories, posts, comments. But the most important thing is not the quantity, it's the quality of engagement. She comments in ways that spark conversation. She replies to your stories with open-ended questions. She shares content she knows you'll like. She creates bridges for you two to interact. This is completely different from the passive behavior of most people on social media. She is actively building opportunities for connection. Every like, comment, and share is a disguised invitation for you to start a conversation. It's a modern way of saying, I'm here, I'm available, I'm interested. And it works because it's consistent. It's not one day yes, 3 days no. It's every week, every post, every update. Think about it. How many people do you follow religiously on social media? Probably only those who truly matter to you. The same goes for her. If she is engaging with your content consistently, you are on her priority list. Your name appears in her feed, and she feels that small dopamine boost. This doesn't happen with someone who is just a casual acquaintance. And there's an even deeper layer to all this. Older women are strategic with their time. They don't waste energy on people who have no potential. If she is investing time, attention, and social energy in you, even if only digitally, it's because she sees something there. It's because she is cultivating a connection, nurturing a seed she hopes will grow. But perhaps the most physical, tangible, undeniable sign is the fifth, subtle and strategic touches. A hand on your arm when she laughs at something you said. A touch on the shoulder when she passes by. An adjustment of your tie or shirt collar that didn't need fixing. These touches are calculated, tested, intentional. Mature women understand perfectly the power of physical touch. They know that skin-to-skin contact releases oxytocin, creates comfort, establishes trust. But more importantly, they use these touches as gauges. They touch you to see your reaction. Do you relax? Do you reciprocate? Do you move closer or step back? Each touch is a discrete test of compatibility and receptivity. Now comes the part that's going to turn everything upside down. You need to understand why these signals exist in the first place. Why would a mature, confident woman, who could have practically any man she wanted, choose to show interest in you, especially if you are younger? The answer will destroy everything you've been taught about relationships and age. Older women are not looking for a provider. They are already financially independent. They are not looking for someone to validate them socially. They have already built their own identity. They are not looking for a project to fix. They've already done that and are tired of it. What they are looking for is something men their age rarely offer: genuine presence, enthusiasm for life, absence of cynicism, renewed energy. Older men carry heavy baggage. Complicated divorces. Relationships with toxic ex-wives. Troubled teenage children. Stagnant careers that breed resentment. Bodies that stopped being a priority a decade ago. And worse, a silent bitterness that contaminates every interaction. They have stopped being surprised by things. They have stopped being curious. They have stopped growing. You, as a younger man, represent the opposite of all this. You still hunger for experiences. You still get moved by simple things. You still believe the future can be better than the past. You still take care of your body, your appearance, your energy. And this is incredibly attractive to a woman who has already gone through the phase of emotionally educating immature men and now just wants to enjoy a light, intense, authentic connection. But there's a dark side to all this that needs to be said. This is exactly why you don't notice the signals. Because you have been conditioned to believe you are not good enough for this type of woman. That you need more money, more status, more experience. You look at a stunning 40-year-old woman and think she is out of your reach, while she looks at you and thinks exactly the opposite. This cognitive dissonance is the real problem. You interpret clear signals as ambiguous because your mind refuses to accept that this amazing woman could be interested in you. So you rationalize. She's just being nice. She sees me as a younger friend. She probably has a boyfriend. All of this to protect your ego from a possible rejection that doesn't even exist. The brutal truth is that you are sabotaging real opportunities because of imaginary insecurities. Meanwhile, she is there, giving all the signals possible, waiting for you to take the initiative, and slowly losing hope every time you don't respond. Because no matter how confident she is, no one keeps offering signals forever without reciprocity. There comes a point when she simply gives up and moves on. And when that happens, you don't even realize what you lost. Because you never knew you had something to lose. You go on with your life thinking that women like this would never be interested in you, not knowing that many of them already were, and you simply ignored all of them. It's a silent tragedy that happens thousands of times every day. Let's talk about what's really at stake here. It's not just a relationship. It's the chance to experience a dynamic completely different from what you know. Relationships with older women have a unique emotional quality. They don't create unnecessary drama. They don't play power games. They don't test you with artificial jealousy. They don't need constant validation. They communicate what they feel, what they want, what doesn't work. And they expect the same from you. This means you will grow emotionally in 6 months with a mature woman more than in years with someone your own age. You will learn to communicate genuinely. You will learn to handle conflicts healthily. You will learn that real intimacy goes far beyond the physical. You will learn to respect yourself and respect the other person's time and space. And yes, let's address the elephant in the room, the physical aspect. Older women have a completely different relationship with their own bodies and pleasure. They are not ashamed to ask for what they want. They don't fake it. They don't pretend. They have moved past the phase of thinking sex is something you give to the man. They know it's an exchange, a dance, a mutual exploration. And this completely transforms the experience. But more important than all of this, they will teach you that value has nothing to do with age, money, or social status. Value has to do with presence, authenticity, courage to be vulnerable, and the strength to be honest. These are the qualities they look for. And if you have them, your age is irrelevant. So when you see those 5 signals happening in your life, what do? First, stop rationalizing. Stop making excuses. Stop doubting the obvious. If she is doing all those things, she is interested. Period. Second, respond. Hold the gaze. Return the smile. Thank her for the compliment genuinely. Engage on social media. Return the touches. Show that you are paying attention and that you are open to exploring what could happen between you. The courage you need isn't the courage to approach a stranger at a bar. It's the courage to recognize when someone is already choosing you. It's the courage to accept that you are desirable exactly as you are now, without needing to be older, richer, or more experienced. It's the courage to tear down the mental walls you've built based on social lies that were never true. Because here's the secret nobody tells you. When a mature woman shows genuine interest in you, she has already done 90% of the work. She has already evaluated. Already decided. Already taken the emotional risk of exposing herself. All she needs from you now is reciprocity. Not grand romantic gestures. Not dramatic declarations. Just the simple honesty of admitting that you are also interested and curious about what could happen between you. But there's one non-negotiable condition: you need to show up for real. Older women have an extremely fine-tuned detector for falseness. They've seen all the tricks, all the masks, all the cheap seduction strategies. If you try to be someone you're not, she will notice instantly and the interest will vanish. What she wants is authenticity, not performance. She wants the real man, not the edited version you think she wants to see. This means being honest about your insecurities, your doubts, about the fact that maybe you've never been with an older woman before. This is not weakness, it's emotional maturity. And that's exactly what she's looking for. The ability to be vulnerable without being fragile. The ability to admit you don't know everything without losing confidence in yourself. Here's something practical. If you've identified these signals in someone specific, the next step is simple. Create a private opportunity for you two to have a real conversation. It doesn't need to be elaborate. A coffee, a walk, a drink after work. Some context where you can step out of superficial social mode and have a real exchange. And then when you're in that space, be direct without being invasive. You could say something like, "I've noticed we have a different kind of connection, and I'd like to explore it if you feel the same way." Just like that. No beating around the bush, no games, no ambiguity. She will deeply respect this mature and direct approach. And if she really was giving those signals, the response will be positive. You won't be rejected because she has already chosen you a long time ago. You were just too blind to see it. Now, what if you were wrong? What if you misread everything and she wasn't romantically interested? First, that's extremely unlikely if you identified the 5 signals consistently. But even if it happens, what's the worst-case scenario? A slightly awkward conversation that passes in 2 minutes, and you both continue your lives normally. Compare that to the cost of never trying, living forever without knowing, carrying the regret of not having had the courage when the opportunity was right there. The deeper moral lesson here goes beyond romantic relationships. It's about how you move through the world. Most people live passively reacting to what life offers, expecting good things to fall into their laps without effort. They don't realize that opportunities rarely appear in an obvious and unmistakable way. They come disguised as subtle signals, silent invitations, half-open doors waiting for you to have the courage to push them. You can apply this same logic to your career, friendships, any area of life. Stop waiting for absolute certainty before acting. Certainty doesn't exist. What exists is reasonable probability based on evidence. And when the evidence points in a direction, you act. You take a risk. You move toward what could be good, even without a guarantee of success. Older women are masters of this. They don't wait for a perfect life before pursuing what they want. They act within imperfection, uncertainty, fear. And they do it with elegance, strategy, and calm courage. That's why they give signals instead of waiting passively. That's why they take initiative without losing their femininity. That's why they build bridges toward what they desire. You can learn this from them. You can absorb this wisdom not just to attract them, but to become a better version of yourself. Because in the end, what makes a man attractive to a mature woman isn't just youthful looks or energy. It's the ability to recognize opportunities, to act despite fear, to be vulnerable without being weak, to communicate clearly without being aggressive. So here's your final challenge. In the coming weeks, pay real attention to the women around you. Not just those your own age. Observe interactions with older women you admire, find interesting, or would like to know better. See how many of them are giving the signals you've always ignored. And when you identify them, have courage. Act. Respond. Show that you understand the silent invitation. Because in the end, life doesn't reward those who wait for the perfect opportunity. Life rewards those who recognize imperfect opportunities and act anyway. And right in front of you right now, there is an incredible woman who has already decided that you're worth it. She's just waiting for you to realize it too. If you made it this far and this content resonated with you in any way, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Share it with that friend who needs to hear this. And most importantly, go out there and apply what you've learned. Because knowledge without action is just entertainment. And you deserve more than that.